Here in the third block, welcome him back. I mean, some people suggested that we use palms, but I just don't think that you're that great to welcome you back. So interpret it however you will. If people want to, I'll make it their own choice. Nonetheless, it is Corey, the Pharaoh K Ward. How are you, sir?
Good. It's good to be here. It's been about a month since we've talked.
Yeah, and I'm excited because it's going to be a full slate of news about temples of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. We call it the Temple Ticker, where we just go through not only like dedications and groundbreakings, which now in the Nelson administration, we could find ourselves talking about that on the weekly about everything that's going on there, but it's also if there's a hubbub about a temple. Looking at you, Heber City, we talk about that, or anything else that we can even grab in, because sometimes news is a little slower and we go, I don't know, there's a temple in that city. Should we talk about that city? You bet. We call it the Temple Ticker. Where do you want to start, Corey?
Well, speaking about temples in a city, I was recently on a trip to Mexico and I got to visit one of those temples.
And
And it's an interesting temple because it's kind of like in the historic city center of the area. And so there's kind of like this wall that kind of is like right there at the street. And then inside kind of the atrium is where the temple is. It's kind of an unusual experience. It's in Mérida, Mexico.
okay, now is that one of like I call them the quad temples in Mexico City? That's not one of them? That's a different.
No, this is on
Okay.
the Yucatan Peninsula.
Okay.
Um, It's one of those Hinckley mini temples that all look the same. There's about 44 of them that look the same. But it's kind of funny because you have like this historic city that's like has cathedrals from the 1500s and everything, and then you have the walled temple in the middle of this city.
Interesting. Did you grab a ram horn and go up to the wall of the temple or the grounds, see if you could do anything there, or did you just decide to pass?
I walked around it a couple times. Maybe I should have done 7 times.
Yeah, 7 times and then blow a ram horn. Come on.
That's right.
Read your Bible, everyone who doesn't know any idea what we're talking about. Well, that's cool. In my mind, I'm sort of envisioning it. Have you ever been to Louisiana, New Orleans? And you know
Yeah.
how every hotel in New Orleans sort of has that fountain that's in its courtyard. Is it like that sort of?
Uh,
A case
I
could be
guess.
made. It's a stretch.
May
No way.
I don't know. I don't know what you're referring to, I guess.
Well, well, okay. I digress. It just seems like it's one of
Tangent,
those
yeah.
things where you're like, oh, here's this thing, and then, if you make your way past the right door or the right wall, it's like, oh, this is a completely other thing in the midst of this completely different thing. I don't know.
Gotcha, yeah.
I wanted to use the word similitude, but I didn't get there. So Mexico, but Brazil seems to be where all the action is recently.
Yeah, the last couple of weeks got site announcements for where some temples will be built. Let's see, the Victoria Brazil temple. I'm sorry. Let's see. Sorry, let's go to the temple locations. Vitória Brazil. It's going to be kind of on one of the kind of the city center also of the city. It's kind of looks like an old strip mall and looks like some sort of old university that used to do it. But there's a cool little bike lane right there in the center of the street that looks kind of cool. So
bike traffic to the Vitória Brazil. And then also, I don't even know how you say this. Man, this is two guys that don't know how to say these words.
Portuguese. I mean, I know Spanish, but not Portuguese, and it's a little bit different. But I think it's Maceió. They're going to build it kind of like looks like a coconut orchard because all the trees are spaced, everything, the coconut trees and everything. But what's interesting is that it's on one of the main roads of the city, and it's going to be right next to a department store that has a large Statue of Liberty statue right
Like
in the
the
parking
United
lot.
States Statue of Liberty statue?
Yeah, exactly. So you're going to have a lot of pictures with the temple with the Statue of Liberty in the background. It's going to be interesting.
And now you know all this because you Google Earth the sites. Is that how you figure it out?
Yeah, I looked at what the site looked like.
So what's the story on why the Statue of Liberty is there by the Brazil
You
temple?
don't
Any
know.
idea?
It's actually kind of new. Like I looked on the imagery and it was built like 2022. So
Okay.
I think it's just a way to have the mall to get attention for people to pass by. Hey, what's this place? Let's stop in and buy some stuff. I don't know.
Funny. It's not like a Liberty tax and there's somebody out there out front in a Statue of Liberty costume flipping a sign around. Because I don't know. Have you ever seen those here in Utah, Corey?
Yeah,
Yeah, there's
I
a big
understand.
tax thing, and especially as we go into tax season, man, they've got the flowy arm guy and then someone else spinning, and it's anything you can do to get attention. When I lived in Cedar City, which we're going to justify being able to talk about this because there's a temple in Cedar City on the far south end of town, they decided, you know what we should do, similar to the Brazil Statue of Liberty, let's build a lighthouse for no reason. And so there's this massive lighthouse that as you're driving down I-15, you go, why is there a light? We are nowhere near an ocean, but it works, draws attention.
There you go.
And I confused you because we
Yeah.
jumped to a different part of
Sorry.
of
Yeah,
what
and
we.
my notes I labeled it wrong. The on the temple. So there's two temple dedications that were announced. One of them's for Bentonville, Arkansas. I labeled that wrong on the notes, and then the other one is
Oh,
Brasilia, Brazil.
okay.
So the Bentonville, Arkansas temple, it will be there. Will have be media and VIP tours, June 12th to 13th, and then an open house to the public June 17th to July 1st. And then for reasons that are kind of baffle me, there's going to be a 2.5 month wait for the dedication on September 17th. And Elder
Well,
Bednar will do that.
interesting. So I have an explanation for a month of that, but I
Yes,
don't have an explanation for 2 months of a wait. The brethren take off the month of July, so that
that's
I can
right.
easily write off why it wouldn't be in July, because they are like, here, have family, all the things, you're not going to be working, go. So that makes sense why he may not do it in July, but yeah, no idea why they would wait in such a long time.
And so the next thing is the Brasilia Brazil temple will also be dedicated on September 17th, but they're having their open house in August.
Huh.
August 1st through the 26th is where the media and the public open house will be. So they're going to have the dedications on the same day. Elder Neil Andersen will do the one in Brasilia. So those two temples, Bentonville and Brasilia Brazil, dedicated on the same day, but Bentonville has to wait a lot longer
Do you want
in
to?
between the open house and the dedication.
I actually have a little bit of audio about them talking about why they decided to push it out so long. Would you like to hear it?
Oh, I would love to.
All right. You want to do it in July in Arkansas? Do you have any idea how terrible the weather is? It's so hot, so stuffy. Let's just move it. No one will notice except for Corey K. Ward. Literally, no one will notice how long this is. Okay, all right, let's push it to September and see if anyone notices. All right, Bentonville, there we go. All right, Bednar, you in? Yeah, I'm in. Okay, good. Crazy. So that's a little bit of audio of why they decided to move it to September.
I mean, you might as well move the open house until August if you're not going to have the dedication until September, because that's the time frame was okay for Brazil, but not for.
I
I don't know.
honestly don't know, but if you've ever been in the South in the summer in those hot July, August months, that's the only thing that I can think of, unless there's something else going on in
I'm
Arkansas.
pretty sure Brazil's pretty hot. I don't know. Never mind.
You stop comparing. Arkansas is nothing like Brazil.
Gotcha.
Arkansas is not the Brasilia Brazil. I got nothing. Okay, so that gets us through that. Open house reservations. What's this about?
Yeah, upcoming March 25th, they'll start in Richmond, Virginia, so you can get your reservations now. And then in Columbus, Ohio, they're starting on April 29th, and you can get your parking reservations. So
Now,
I guess in this temple, if you can arrive to the temple, you really don't, without a car, you don't need a reservation. But if you need parking, because it's limited, you do have to make a reservation.
and that is a revamp of the Columbus, Ohio temple, because it was actually dedicated originally when I was out there serving in Cleveland. So mold,
That's
is that
right.
why they had to redo stuff?
It appears so. It looks like all kind of those temples, they're one by one starting to, next they're going to do the one in Hawaii, in Kona, and they have probably a few other plans for the future. So one by one, they're kind of renovating all these small Hinckley temples.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, the one in Kona, it's amazing. There's a steak
Yeah.
center right there in the same parking lot, and you're just are kind of driving by because there's mainly just like one highway in Hawaii that sort of goes around the island, and you kind of come around and you go, "Is that? Oh my god, geez!" And then you come down, and it's got all the waterfalls. Not exactly like the glory like you see at the Laie Temple over on Oahu, but it's just gorgeous, breathtaking. Different. I don't know. Maybe it's just because you're in Hawaii and you feel different, but
Yeah, this is
it
the exact same
definitely.
design as the temple in Mexico that I visited last week.
Yeah. Okay.
But
Okay.
it's not like I said, it's kind of walled behind some buildings.
Yeah. This one's out for everybody to see. Everyone can take a little peek.
That's right.
And then big deal. I saw this, and maybe this is just because of where I'm at and what I have my news fetchers sent to, but it was like 3 days of the Montpelier Temple.
Yeah, I guess a pretty strong news community up there. Um, but yeah, they're gonna have a groundbreaking on June 17th by Randy K. Olsen. But they did not. Usually, they do release a rendering when they announce these groundbreakings, but they did not release one right now. So we're going to wait on that.
Not finished, do we suppose?
Maybe they need extra approvals. I don't know.
Okay. And then,
But then
Vanuatu, which everyone only knows because of Survivor Season 9.
that's right. And we talked about how they had a groundbreaking scheduled for March 4th, but it did not happen because two cyclones came through the islands, Cyclone Judy and Cyclone Kevin. They were like category 4, so kind of a big deal. It looks like no one was killed in the storm, but yeah, they're still recovering from that, and they'll have to do that groundbreaking later.
Millions upon millions of destruction there, and the church has done some really great humanitarian effort for Cyclone Judy and Cyclone Kevin. We've shared those articles in previous articles of news. And then let's see, we talked about Brazil already. So take us right to the hubbub about the Heber City Temple.
Yeah, so in the last month, there's been some hubbub. KPCW has been reporting about this pretty, um, uh, pretty, what's the word? They've been reporting on it through the last month. And first, they reported that the church didn't submit a request in time for the next meeting. So they were thinking maybe the church was hitting the brakes on their request to have get a variance on the dark skies ordinance. But then it seems like they were actually kind of having extra talks with the county, and the county kind of wants to rework its policy and everything. But they're still probably willing to grant this exception to the church and the temple. And then just this past week, they had a open house for all the neighbors in the community to show off the plans, the renderings, the designs, and kind of talk to the HOA people around. Some of them were not happy. Some of them said that they probably expect that some of their neighbors will probably move because they don't want to see a bright building in their neighborhood where they thought they could see some nice dark skies. But yeah, most of them think that it's kind of a done deal because they already had a groundbreaking. Like before they got any of these approvals or had any outreach to the members, they're just like, yeah, we had the groundbreaking back in the fall, and we're finally getting around to having all the approvals and meeting the neighbors and everything. So kind of seems like a done deal.
And you said meeting, but it also sounded like you said beating the neighbors a little bit, and I think that's a little bit of what's
Sorry.
going on as well, where it's like, guys, we're not going away. Some of the
That's
people
right.
in the county, in the city, they're same team as us. We're gonna get this figured out. What I didn't know, we talked mainly about the dark skies and the issue with Heber City, but Heber City is a small enough town that there are lots of people that are upset about just the size of the building in general,
Just the
because there's
size.
not
Okay.
anything really that large up in Heber City, and they're like, come on, make it a shorter, less lit building. And that was a component that was part of it that I had not considered.
I was certainly surprised by the size of the temple. Like this is the same size as some of them in the Wasatch Front that have two baptistries and everything. Heber only has like 6 stakes, and there's maybe 2 stakes up in Park City, and so I think I would expected a smaller temple than this.
Well,
But I guess they're more ambitious for growth.
and it's a catch-all for everything that's along the Wasatch Back, right?
That's
You
right.
have
Yeah.
Walsburg, and you have some Camas folks, and you have all of the
But even then,
growth
it's
that's on.
only 8 stakes, and there's several temples that are being built right now, much smaller than this, that have even more stakes. So
It
I don't
was
know.
the highest growth area during the pandemic, Corey. Let
Gotcha.
them
I
have it.
gotcha.
People are coming. People are getting there. You let them have this. I don't know. I think it'd be cool if the church acquiesced and it ends up being like this flat, just sprawling, dark building. They're just like,
That'd be
fine,
funny.
guys, is this what you want? Fine, we'll do this. And they just have a whole city block, one level temple that they keep dark after 6.
Okay.
They
Yeah.
won't do it. They will not do any of that. Not a single bit. Abidjan, is that how you say that in Ivory Coast?
I think so, Abidjan. Yeah, Elder D. Tedros Robertson toured the temple, went on his visit there in West Africa, and the church actually released some photos of the interior. So it's interesting to see what the progress looks like inside. Um, I think the progress has been a little bit slow in this temple. The pandemic probably didn't help with that. It's been under construction for like 4 years. They still probably have another year left. The temple president was announced in 2021, and normally that
Jeez.
happens when they're about ready to finish. But what's unique about this temple is that it does have that silver Moroni. So one of the last Moronis that will be dedicated, and it's a unique one.
Is there any other place that has a silver Moroni?
No, this is the only one.
And why is it that it has one there?
I mean, I can only speculate, but I
Please.
speculate that this is kind of in that time when they were like, I think they were probably having discussions about phasing out Moroni. So
Mm-hmm.
they probably were like, this is kind of a poor African country, and so we don't want to like look like we're too wealthy, so let's just turn it silver.
Oh,
I don't know.
interesting.
Like a
I
little
hadn't even
bit,
considered that part of it. But
yeah,
I
I
mean,
don't
the
know.
temples are in other poor communities, but maybe not near as much as the
It's
Ivory
true.
Coast. Hmm.
Well, who knows? I'm
Huh.
not privy to those internal discussions.
We're going to find out, Corey, and I'll let you know. If anyone knows, contact at theculturalhall.com. Why is there a silver Moroni going in the Ivory Coast? So what else, anything else significant about that temple or that temple visit?
Just that he visited all over the West Africa. He went to Monrovia and Sierra Leone and Ghana. So all those places will have new temples soon.
Okay. New temple presidents and matrons. Boy, we are getting all of the temple news when we start mentioning the presidents and matrons.
Yeah, well, I'm only going to mention the ones that were of the temples that haven't been dedicated yet. So this indicates that they probably will be dedicated soon, probably later this year, early next year. I won't go too in depth of what, but everyone's local, so that's I think, a good development. Everyone kind of comes from the local area.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so the temples are Pueblo, Mexico, Taylorsville, Utah,
Woohoo!
Bentonville, Arkansas, Moses Lake, Washington, Layton, Utah, Casper, Wyoming, Red Cliffs, Utah, and Brasilia, Brazil. So some of those already have dedications announced. Some of them will probably have dedications soon, and they'll probably be later this year, maybe early next year. And I just kind of like looking at kind of like the resume of the presidents that are called. Most of them have been mission presidents and leaders. Some of them have been MTC presidents, and so, but some of them have been stake presidents or Area 70s. One was he was even a patriarch, so kind of a different type of resume than your normal what's the temple president.
Yeah. Now I'm looking ahead at kind of what our second or last pieces of news are, and concept plan leak. Are we going to get in trouble? Are we getting in trouble for what we're about to talk about?
We can talk about it,
No, let's talk
but
about it. Let's get in trouble.
we won't
Get
publish
edgy.
anything.
Let's get edgy.
Edgy, okay. See if anyone listens to this podcast.
Yeah.
So on Reddit, maybe possibly the ex-Mormon Reddit, it seems like someone leaked some concept plans that were meant for Temple Square. And so big caveat, a big asterisk. Who knows if this was adopted? Who knows if this is just in development and there's been significant revisions? Who knows if it will happen? So that's that. But basically, it's a kind of a master plan of the next, couple of decades of what Temple Square will look like, and kind of what the ideas that they want to put forward and how to improve guest experience, how to kind of, even President Nelson has said this, he wants Temple Square to be a place like the Vatican or the Temple Mount in Jerusalem, a kind of a religious place where people go and it's kind of a world-class site.
Hmm.
And so it kind of alludes that in this master plan, it kind of alludes to that. And they even propose changing the name of Temple Square to something that kind of reflects that, to something like the Mountain of the Lord or something like that.
Interesting.
And
But
so, go ahead.
no, I was just going to say but there's one part of this that I have a really hard time believing.
What do you have hard time believing?
The moving of the church offices, the removal of the church office building, the Joseph Smith Memorial Building, and CAB. I'm trying to rack my brain for what that
The
stands for.
church administrative
Church
building, the one where
administration.
like the First Presidency and the Quorum of the 12 has their offices.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So yeah, it looks like if this long-term plan goes into effect, they kind of want to clear out the area around the temple. And I think it's actually pretty plausible that they are having discussions about replacing the church office building because it's about 50 years old.
Oh, and it's
They're trying
terrible.
to they're trying to earthquake-proof everything, and it's probably a good opportunity to just change what the skyline looks like. And
Yeah.
so the church has several blocks around Temple Square, around kind of where the the Vivint Delta Center is. And so we kind of propose kind of moving those church offices to that area, kind of creating a new, new areas of guest experience, having several like basically converting several of the streets into tunnels so
Mm.
that traffic can get out so that basically people can walk around the area without the sound of traffic and everything. And that would take a lot of work with the city and everything. Um,
I guess I
it also,
believe it. I
I
guess.
believe, reading through this, I'm pretty sure it can't be some deep fake because there's too many clues on here that have already been alluded to, that it seems very plausible, even if this won't be implemented fully, if they're still in discussions about this. But it's a very interesting plan. Before there's like talks about like places for outdoor musical events that you can gather and listen to the
Yeah.
tabernacle choir outside.
Yes. I
Talks about
love
like a place
that.
for an Easter celebration, like an Easter pageant, probably like they have in Mesa. Just like this huge like lawn in front of the Salt Lake Temple where the all the offices are right now. Kind of like a probably moving kind of welfare square, kind of that service area of the church into Temple Square to have visitors come through. A lot of like ponds and open space and lawns and everything, and moving all the church offices to this kind of new sprawling complex.
You know what I hope that they do? I want them to take the Joseph Smith Memorial Building and turn it back into the Hotel Utah, and so you can stand
Yeah.
literally on Temple Square. I would love that.
Well, if this plan goes through, then it would possibly be demolished.
I
And
can't.
so
So the
I,
rest of it I can believe. Church administration building, sure.
uh,
The church office building, all right. Although I do hope that they open up the church office building for like 3 days and all the base jumpers can go up to the top and jump
oh,
off legally as opposed to
basic.
getting arrested like they did for several years back in the 90s, early 2000s. But
Uh-huh.
I would love it, love it, love it, love it if they just convert it back to the old Hotel Utah so people can hang out.
Interesting. Yeah.
Because they do it. I mean, think no further than Italy and the Italy temple, right? There's a hotel there. You stay right on the property. It's
Yeah,
not really
that's
a
right.
hotel,
Uh-huh.
everybody, but pretty close. And then
Yes, I mean it has several like phases or like like different choices that can be made, different forks in the development that they propose. So it's a very tentative plan. It's just like outlining the vision, not like any set plans, but kind of saying, hey, this is in the next couple of decades, this is what we're going to be working towards.
and I don't think that you should use the word vision so lightly, Corey. I think that just teasing. Let's wrap this out. We go to a couple places
Sure.
that are experiencing some snow, some cold weather temples.
Some cold weather, yeah. We mentioned that they're going to have a dedication in open house in May for the Helena, Montana temple, and they're not messing around. They really want nice flowers for this open house. So they built a greenhouse around kind of the flower beds of the temple so they can already start growing flowers. So who
And
cares about being, I don't know, environmentally friendly, just using all this energy to make sure you have flowers? I don't know. Maybe I'm kind of cynical that way.
yeah, sure, I get it, but it's already been canonized into our hymn book, though. You knew this, right?
That's right. No.
Have you haven't? This is one of the new songs. God, we're breaking all sorts of stuff here on in this Temple Ticker episode. But they're one of the new songs. I don't know. I don't know if I want to sing it. I guess I should. I guess I should sing it so people can, hear it. There is a greenhouse far away outside the temple walls.
You just came up with that right now.
I did.
Wow.
Oh, shoot. And then Tucson. This is cool. I've actually seen some pictures of this and it's amazing.
Yeah, you got snow in Tucson, Arizona at the Tucson Temple. So I don't know how long it's been since there's been snow in Tucson, but just recently there's been a temple built, and so you have some cool photos of the snow on the cactus.
Yeah, pretty awesome. So people can check out the links to all the stories that we have. They'll be in the show notes for this particular episode. Also, we're not going to send you the leaked documents, even if you sent us an email to contact@theculturalhall.com and
You
said,
can find them
hey,
on Reddit.
yeah,
So
just search it. Just Google search it, or maybe I would email it back to you. Corey, thank you, sir. I hope that this
yeah,
episode has nourished and strengthened your body.
hope that if you weren't here, that you can be here next week.
And if that you are anyway sick or afflicted, that you can be healthy and join us next time. In the meantime, we'll be saving a seat for you
On the back row
of the
of
Cultural
the
Hall.
Cultural Hall.